You only have one life to live, so get the most out of it. On Good Life, Great Life, join me, Brian Highfield, and my guests as we share success stories, habits, mindsets, and lessons learned by successful people. These lessons are not taught in schools, but are critical for getting ahead in life. Whether you want a successful business or career, optimal health, or a lifestyle that most people just dream of, Good Life, Great Life has you covered. After retiring from a successful corporate career in my 40s, I founded multi-million-dollar businesses in the sports and healthcare arenas. Now, I help everyday people maximize their lives and speak regularly at seminars, on podcasts, and radio shows to share principles on the topics of health, wealth, and happiness. Don't let a good life get in the way of a great life. Join me today on Good Life, Great Life. Well, welcome to another episode of Good Life, Great Life. And today we have with us, we have Rachel Neill. So Rachel co-founded Carex Consulting Group and also the kids play company Figgy. Welcome to the program, Rachel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you.
Yeah, me too. It sounds like you've done some really, really exciting things in your entrepreneurial career, but you started where a lot of people start, and that's kind of corporate America. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I kind of fell into the space and I ended up working with this health tech company, coming on as an early employee, and right away got the bug. I was like, I am being scrappy and building things and kind of problem solving in my day to day. And we grew pretty quickly to 40 million in private equity funding. And kind of towards the end of my tenure, I was like, oh, I'm like not doing making the magic happen, building the bike while I'm riding it anymore. And decided it was capital and launched Carex, my first venture.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what Carex does.
Yeah, so Carex does staffing in the scientific, engineering, health tech, IT, and project management spaces. And we work with venture-backed startups all the way up through Fortune 5 companies.
So that's still ongoing. You've grown that. So what are some of the challenges that you had to endure to really build that up?
Yeah, I think it's really hard, as you've probably experienced in your entrepreneurial, build a brand from nothing. It's a lot of networking. It's a lot of kind of selling the idea before you actually have the goods to go with it. And so I think that was one of the biggest challenges, was getting people to take us seriously and giving us a chance. And so be an efficient storyteller and being able to help them visualize, provide.
Awesome. So what, and you're a mom of 6, right? So how does that work when you're balancing your family life with starting up a business?
I always like to talk about work-life blend, which is really how I operate my life. There's not that balance. I feel like that's always connotation, but work-life blend works for me. I love being an entrepreneur and having my own schedule because I really am able to fit my kids into my day-to-day operations and find times that work for us, whether that means taking a break at 11 to get some lunch together, or being able to pick up where I left off at.
And so I love that. I love that it's kind of a blended thing. So it's rather not like balancing like this or the other, right? It's really incorporating everything that's part of your life. Now, do you bring your kids to work? Do you put them to work and into your company? How do they fit in?
Yeah, so I do childcare, which is super helpful because I don't think I'd get very much work done. But with my company Figgy, they participate quite a bit. So I had found myself a working parent at home during a global pandemic with kids running around, and that's kind of how the Figgy was born. And so now it's great because I'm able to leverage them in our advertising and some of our photo shoots. And I've even got them working on making TikTok videos like that. So they're helping me out now.
So, and you mentioned Figgy Play, and so what was the inspiration for that, and how successful has that been?
Yeah, so during it was the start of 2020, and Carex was in this like 3 to 4 week lull while hiring managers figured out what they were going to do. And I had a little bit of free time, and I thought, my gosh, I need to keep my kids busy. And there's a product out there called Nugget, and you couldn't get your hands on it. You had to enter a lottery to be able to spend your money on it. And two, when your 2-year-old has a meltdown every time they play with it, you start thinking, man, if I was the product designer, I think I would do things a little bit differently. And so I ended up calling up my co-founder, who's also a parent and an engineer by parent and kids perspective, and launched on Kickstarter, did $40,000 in 8 minutes, and then closed out a organic campaign with dollars, and then went on to do $1 million in revenue our first year.
Wow. So how's the product different from other play sets and things that you were seeing out there?
Yeah, so the Figgy has 4 base cushions that are all of equal thickness, which is important because it means that little kids and big kids can be supported by it, and adults too. And then we chose a foam density that wasn't too heavy for little kids to lift up and manipulate. We have a patent pending Velcro connection system that allows you to connect as many cushions as you want and really like create limitless possibilities, helps with gross motor skills and STEM creative thinking. And then we also utilize rectangle shapes, which make great pillars and seats and are easy for kids to walk across. And then there's little things for the parent too. So waterproof liners so that if you have accidents or spills, you're not ruining the foam underneath. Color trends that match with the modern home decor. So instead, reds and yellows and blues that don't really match your home aesthetic, you can have something that when guests come over looks like. And then we have zipper garages and other safety features that protect your.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fun, and as a parent, someone who has to construct a fort out of the couch cushions about every other day for my son, and then put it all back together on the couch. It sounds pretty cool, but I bet your kids had a lot of fun testing the product, and as you say, you're using them and advertising as well.
Yeah, they're my honest product testers. Kids never seem to mince words, and they're also always interested in helping with the creative side of things.
Awesome. And you mentioned like making TikTok videos and stuff like that. Are you using social media to really create awareness of the product and the brand?
Yeah, and it's been an interesting like year and a half because uh you might be aware of the iOS changes.
Hmm.
So iOS 14 changed the way that all the algorithms worked. So we've shifted our strategy a little bit. We still use Facebook and Instagram and TikTok advertising, but we also work with influencers and have developed partnerships to continue to grow presence.
Yeah, and you were talking about Kickstarter, and you were talking about even when you were starting Carex, that you really had to go out there and raise money for this. So what did you learn through that process that you can share with some aspiring entrepreneurs on that may need to get some capital to really get started?
Yeah, I always go back to networking. I think building your network before you really need to utilize it is so important. It's something that we should be teaching kids when they're in school, middle school, high school. It's such a valuable skill set. And I think it's a lot easier, and at least it was for me, already being plugged into my startup community and already having relationships with people so that they would either vouch for me or make introductions to folks that could help me. And I think it saved a lot of time and effort. And ultimately, it's good for our community too, because there's an ecosystem up.
Yeah, so I think that's great advice on how to raise capital with people. Networking is always good. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and in so many cases in business. What are some other pieces of advice that you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur who may not know where to start, or may want to be aware of some of the pitfalls that they can fall into as they get going there? What are some top things that you would advise them on?
Yeah, I think that one, don't skip on the back end. So a lot of entrepreneurs something and make a business and maybe sell that business, but they don't realize the back end of the business might be like making sure you have enough insurance, or you've got banking relationships and a legal team that you can depend on. And so putting those pieces and making sure that you have the and then also making sure that you find mentors. So I have avoided so many mistakes by just talking to other entrepreneurs and letting them tell me things that I might not have even thought of. And so I think those are two big pieces of advice that I have. And then the third would be, don't wait and started. I often hear people say, "Oh, I have this great idea, but oh, I don't have a logo, or I don't have this, or I don't know how to get all that." Either it's too late, the idea's passed, or they never feel like they're ready enough. Just step forward.
Yeah, I think it's good advice. A lot of people, we always like to say they're getting ready to get ready. That they spend a lot of time on some detailed and get down in the weeds of things they don't really need to worry about right there. They just need to go, and so they sit back and wait too long, and then before you know it, the opportunities pass them by.
I always find too, there's so many people who are afraid to share their ideas that somebody might steal the idea. And of the opposite mindset. I think that execution is really like the key to everything, and it's really hard to execute. So the idea of somebody stealing your idea, probably very low risk. But what you do, what you miss when you kind of keep things secret is the fee you're not thinking of. The more people you talk to and kind of socialize your idea with, the easier it's going to be for you to get going and possibly avoid more pitfalls.
Absolutely. And you talk about mentorship as well, because most people, they don't know what they don't know. And talking to people that have been there and done that is invaluable. So who are some of your best mentors out there?
Yeah, I would say my Bakken, he started Nordic Consulting, and
Uh,
he was an incredible mentor because early on in my career with him, he would take me to a bunch of startup events and took the time to explain things and maybe otherwise wouldn't be exposed to. And so he's always been a great supporter and a great connector. Um, and then I think if I had to look to some other ones, Aaron Zaga, who is the CMO at Newton Baby, is um, in the baby mattress space, and he's always been so open to providing quick responses and advice. And it's really, really helped me along the way and sped up our process at Figgy. And then even just the other one would be Generator. So they are this accelerator that is now across the country, and they do such amazing work in the startup community and a lot to give back as well.
Awesome. It's good stuff. So what's next? What's next for Rachel? What's next for Figgy and Carex? Where are you taking it in the next few years?
Yeah, so Carex continues to expand, and so we continue to offer new business lines as we grow different capabilities, and then because expand a lot faster geographically. It was a little harder before to enter into new markets, but now with the rise of remote work and remote work being here to stay, it's a lot easier for us. So we're kind of full steam ahead. And with Figgy, we're really trying to create that brand recognition and that into marketing and PR, and feel like we've perfected our product now, and we just got to get the word out there and solidify our position in the market.
Awesome. Good stuff. So how can our audience get in touch with you or learn more about Figgy, learn more about Carex? Where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find links to everything through my website, rachelneill.com. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Figgy Play, and CarexConsultingGroup.com. And then I'm on LinkedIn as well, Rachel Neill, and I'm always happy to connect and chat with anybody. So I would love it if people reached out.
Awesome. Good stuff. We're going to have those links here tied to the podcast as well. So our guest today has been Rachel Neill, who co-founded Carex Consulting Group, along with the kids play company Figgy, figgyplay.com. So thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing all your knowledge today.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Good Life, Great Life, brought to you by Brian Highfield. We hope you enjoyed listening to this week's guests and stories. If you like what you've heard, please consider subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts.